Today's project is a small cowl scarf, infinity scarf, Mobius. So as you can see, there's a twist in it, which means that it's all worked as one piece from the center outward. It is using a lacy crochet pattern called the Astro Cluster Stitch pattern, which I've adapted from the Stitch Foundry's Stitch Dictionary that's online. That pattern is worked flat, but this is worked in the round. So as you can see, it kind of works out. This pattern uses slip stitches, single crochets, double crochets. We're using various cluster stitches that will be described as we go through. And the foundation double crochet we start out with. It's not as complicated as it looks, so let's get started. For today's project, you will need yarn in the weight and color you want to complete the project in. You will need a crochet hook in the size recommended for that yarn. You will need scissors, a tapestry needle, and a couple of stitch markers. We begin with a foundation double crochet, and that looks like this. We start with our yarn, and we're going to start with a slip knot. So yarn over the finger once, and then pull up a loop. I'm leaving a bit of a long tail as we will need that later. The yarn goes on the hook, and then I'm going to chain 2. So that's just yarn over the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over the hook, pull up a loop. There's my chain 2. Next, I'm going to do a yarn over to start my double crochet. But I'm not going to quite start the double crochet just yet. I'm going to insert the hook into that first loop. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull up 1 loop. And so now I'm set up for a double crochet, but I'm not going to quite do the double crochet. I'm going to start with another chain. So I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over again, and I'm going to pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So what I've created is a double crochet and a chain stitch at the same time. So let me do that again. Yarn over, and then in that last chain that I just created, so see, under both of those legs of the yarn, I'm going to go through, and I'm going to, I split the yarn, I am going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Then I am going to again yarn over, pull up 1 more loop, and then I'm going to start my stitch. So yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Again, yarn over, find that last chain, move through both of those legs, and I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and then I'm going to do that again. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and then I'm going to complete the double crochet. So yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now you can see that I've basically created 3 chain stitches here and 3 double crochets. Let me do that a couple more times. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to go through the chain at the bottom, and I'm going to pull up and make a chain stitch. And I'm going to go make a yarn over, pull through the loop again. That starts my double crochet. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And that's 4. One more time. Yarn over, go into the chain stitch at the bottom, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up 1 more loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That leaves me with 5 double crochets. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our cast on for this project, and you will continue in that manner until the foundation double crochet is as long as you're going to want your scarf to be around. Depending on the weight of yarn you're using, the hook you're using, and how long you want your final scarf to be around will determine how many foundation double crochets you do. When it's as long as you feel like you need it to be, stop. But the pattern calls for a multiple of 6. So at this point, I'm going to want to count my stitches to find out how many stitches I have done. Not counting the initial chain 2, this is 108 stitches, which actually works out to be a multiple of 6. For those of you who do not remember your math, you take the number of stitches. If it's even, that makes it divisible by 2. It's even, so it's divisible by 2. And then you just add up the digits of the number. 108, that's 8 plus 1, which is 9, which is divisible by 3. It's divisible by 3 and 2, which means 108 is a multiple of 6, which means I don't have to do anything else. If your stitches are not quite a multiple of 6, you can either add a couple more stitches or subtract them until you have an even number that's divisible by 3, and that will be long enough. The Astro Cluster stitch pattern was written to be worked flat. However, because this is a Mobius, we are going to be working it in the round. So a couple of adjustments have been made to the pattern. Now, you generally, when you work in the round, you want to make sure that your stitches are all flat and even and everything lines up. So start there. But because this is a Mobius, what we're going to do is we're then going to take this and we are going to do one little twist. And that's how where we're going to start. So I'm going to take my hook, put it back on the yarn, and I am going to do a slip stitch into the bottom of the foundation double crochet, and this is just to attach everything. Then I am going to, in the same stitch, I am going to do a single crochet. I'm going to mark that stitch. This is the beginning of our round. You will be able to tell where that is, but I just kind of like to keep the marker there. So we chain 2. We are going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then we're going to make a V-stitch into that 3rd stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So that is 1 double crochet. Then we're going to do a chain 2, and we're going to do another double crochet into that same stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we are going to do another chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and we're going to do a single crochet into that 3rd stitch. So into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That is the stitch we do all the way around the first or the second round. So chain 2, we are going to skip 2, 1, 2, into that 3rd stitch. We are going to do the V-stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop. Notice I have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, chain 2, another double crochet. So yarn over into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and this is a single crochet, so 1, 2, single crochet, so yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And you will do this all the way around. So I've been working around and I've got most of this done, and this is the really cool part. And now I have come right back to the beginning, except those stitches are there. And I can just keep going, continuing the stitch. So it's just chain 2, yarn over, it's a double crochet. So I'm going to skip 1, 2 into that 3rd stitch, and notice on the bottom here is where that V-stitch was, and so I'm doing a V-stitch exactly mirroring it. So yarn over, do a double crochet, chain 2, and a double crochet. Chain 2, and skip 2, 1, 2, and into that stitch, and I'm checking, and there is the single crochet on the other half of the Mobius. And so it is going to mirror just like that. So continue to do this. And this is the half of the round that you really need to pay attention, because if you mess up here, it messes up the whole thing. But all you have to do is keep going, 1, 2, do my V-stitch, see the V-stitch is there, V-stitch is there. Chain 2, finish the V-stitch, chain 2, whoops, chain 2, and single crochet, 1, 2, single crochet. And you will do this until you get all the way back around. I'm going to pause here for just a moment and talk about the beginning of our round and this bit where the stitches don't quite come together. Well, that's what the long tail is for. You're going to put your long tail on a tapestry needle, and while winding in the end, you're going to put these together. So the easiest way to do this is to just kind of make the stitch up here like this, winding that through. And then where that stitch kind of is, you're going to go up through the stitch, then you're going to go around the stitch where it is, go around, and then you're going to go back down into here, creating kind of a mock stitch so that it looks like a stitch is there even though it's not. And then you just wind in the rest of this end, and it looks like the beginning of the round is just continuous. This doesn't need to be done at this point. This can be done at any point while you're working this. But before you finish, when you wind in ends, do make sure to close that up. And now we're nearly all the way back to the beginning. So continuing with the stitch, 1, 2, and I am continuing to check to make sure that I am putting the stitches in the mirror side. Chain 2, another double crochet, chain 2, single crochet, 1, 2, single crochet, chain 2, And now I'm back to the beginning. I'm going to remove that marker and then into my single crochet from the previous round, I am going to do a slip stitch. So now the hard part is done. The twist is already in the scarf. And now it's just a matter of continuing on with the pattern. So round 2, we have to do a bit of a cheat to get it to where we need to work it, because we are going to do a cluster into each of these chain 2 spaces. So we will slip stitch until we get to the point when we need to start. So that's just yarn over, pull up through 2 loops, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 loops until we get to, and one more, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Then we're going to do a cluster stitch into this stitch right here. This cluster stitch is 3 double crochets. We will start the first cluster here. I'm going to yarn over and then into the chain 2 space. I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. I'm going to do the same thing again. Yarn over, go into the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 3 stitches. That's the first part of the cluster. Then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to do that exact same thing into the same space. So yarn over into the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, back into the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then yarn over and pull through all 3. I'm going to do that one more time. Chain 2. Yarn over, back into the same space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over into the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through all 3. That is the cluster that goes into that space. And so there should be 3 of those little double crochet things, and that's going to look a little funny, but we'll fix that on the other end. Then chain 1 and do the exact same thing into this space here. So skip all of this, go into there, yarn over into the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over, pull up through the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3. Do that twice more in the space. Chain 2, yarn over, do it again. In the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, in the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And the yarn split, so I'm just going to carefully go through there. Now it's loose again. Yarn over, pull through all 3 stitches. And one more time, chain 2. Yarn over into the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and I got my caught on something. Let's try that again. Yarn over, pull through 2. I have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 1. I have 3 double crochet clusters in that cluster space. I chained 1 and I continue on. Again, yarn over and then into this space here, not here, skip this whole thing, into there, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2. You will continue this cluster all the way around. Oh, and I forgot to put the stitch marker. You really can tell when these are, but I do like to keep the stitch marker just to keep things neat. So I'll yarn over into the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3, and continuing on in this manner until you get to the other side. I've skipped ahead a little bit and we are almost to the end of the round. So continuing with my cluster stitch, make sure to skip these 2. And now we are to the end of that round where I have marked the stitch. I take that marker out, finish that last 2 and chain 1, and then into that kind of first weird stitch that we did, slip stitch. And that is the end of round 3. As you can see, both sides are getting completed each time, and that was kind of a long round, kind of a lot of stitches in that one. The 4th round is very simple by comparison. So we're going to start with a chain 3. That's our first double crochet, and so I'm going to mark that stitch right there. And then I'm going to chain 1 more. And this is basically double crochets and chain stitches all around. So yarn over and into the next chain space, I'm going to do a double crochet. So pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Again, chain 1, and then in the next space, same thing. Double crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And all the way across, what we're going to do is chain 1, double crochet into the next space, chain 1, double crochet into the next space, all the way around. So chain 1, yarn over, the next space is the space between the clusters. So right into this chain 1 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, and then into this space again, yarn over into the space, and you will do this all the way around. The thing that's great about the Mobius is once we've set up that first round, it just works. So here I am almost at the beginning, except on the flip side, and I'm just going along straight. And now we're almost back at the beginning of the round. This initial 3 chains is basically where this was. So at this point, we're going to consider this our first double crochet and slip stitch into that stitch, ending the 4th round. And let's take a look at what we have so far. We have a mirror image tube with that one twist in it. Round 5 is just a double crochet all the way around. So we're going to start with a chain 3, and this is again going to count as our first double crochet. So mark that stitch. And then you're going to double crochet into every chain space and every double crochet all the way around. So the first is a chain space, so yarn over, go into the chain space, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and pull through 2, yarn over, and then into this double crochet. Yarn over to the chain space, yarn over into the double crochet. And that's going to basically come back to where we began. And you will do this double crochet all the way around. And now we have come back to the beginning again. So just finish up the double crochets all the way around into the chain space. And then that 3 chains counts as our first double crochet. So slip stitch into the chain. And now we have completed one full repeat of the pattern. Depending upon how thick your yarn is, this may be wide enough for you. If it is not, you can do 1 more or 2 more or 3 more pattern repeats. If you're going to finish it off, you can skip ahead to the end to where I finish this part off. If you're going to be continuing on, we start all over again with round 2. So that was our slip stitch. So again, we start with a single crochet, and this is the beginning of our round. Chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and into the 3rd stitch we're going to do a double crochet V-stitch, so 3 loops on the hook, double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, single crochet into the next stitch. And you will notice that this should line up with where we started down here. So I have the double crochet V, double crochet V, the single crochet, single crochet, down to where that single crochet is. So again, double 2 chains, yarn over, skip 2, and right about where that double crochet V is. And you will repeat the exact same rounds 2 through 5, all the way around until you get to the double crochet. I've skipped ahead, so we are now at the end of a second pattern repeat, And I am back on the double crochet round, so I'm double crocheting into every double crochet and every chain stitch. And the last double crochet in the double crochet and the chain stitch. And now we have come to the end. Deciding whether you've come to the end or not is going to depend upon how wide you want your cowl, scarf, whatever you want to call it to be. If you want it wider than this, you can do another pattern repeat, but keep in mind that every time you do a pattern repeat, you're adding this bit and this bit to the end. So do kind of keep track of how big you want this. So to make this look complete, what you're going to do is you are going to, it doesn't need to be a very long tail, just long enough to finish things off. So you're going to cut that. Now notice I haven't done a slip stitch here, and you could do a slip stitch here, but this way kind of makes it a little more finished looking. So take the yarn, put it on your needle. You're going to draw it through, but you're not going to tighten this. And then around this top stitch of the chain 3, you're going to go under both of these legs, around, and then you're going to go back through this stitch. And so it's going to look like a finished stitch. So you just kind of tighten everything up just a little bit. You can tighten this stitch now and tighten that down. So it looks like it doesn't end. Just like that. Then you can take this yarn, pull it through to whatever you're going to consider your back. Although it's a Mobius, so it doesn't really matter. And then you're just going to wind in this end. And it's probably just simpler to kind of go through here. And then underneath these stitches here. And wind that through for a while. Hide it in between the yarns so that it looks like you don't have any yarn there. This is also the point when you're going to wind in any other ends. If you ran out of yarn at any point and needed to start over with a new skein, this is the time. And that's the scarf, all finished. Thanks for watching.